So Brandi Carlile received the Icon of the Year award at this year's Out 100. And while accepting her award, she reflected on a conversation that she had recently with soccer legend Abby Wambach and her wife, author Glennon Doyle, where she realized that she developed a brief that she would die young. Why? Because there is so little representation of queer elders. It is a fact that so few of LGBTQ plus are represented in domesticity, and in family and the age state. Watch this.
And I was spent a little bit of time, because I am a lesbian cliche, with Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach recently. We were at dinner at their house, sort of airing our lesbian woes and ails. And Abby looked into my soul, and she said to me, she goes, "Do you think you're going to have a long life?" And I suddenly realized that I've been holding this really dark secret for a long time, which is that, no, I don't think I'm going to live a long life. And I don't know why. And I'd never really admitted it before. But I said, I don't. Actually, I think I'm going to die quite young. I go, "Do you think you're going to live a long life?" And she goes, "I don't." And I said, "Well, why? Why don't we think we're going to live a long life?" And she said, "Well, because there are no old dykes in pop culture. We don't have a lesbian Golden Girls." You know what I mean? And I thought about the annals of LGBTQIA plus history and the fact that so few of us are represented in domesticity, in family, and in an aged state. And I thought about the fact that the way we identify ourselves is so interwoven into Western pop culture that if we don't see an old version of us, we don't think we'll live a long life. And that's why nights like tonight make so much of an impact on our family and our community.
Oh, she's hot. I didn't know she was that pretty. Question number 3 with a Bacardi eggnog shot. I'd swallow that. I agree with Brandi Carlile that we need a lesbian Golden Girls.
I'm gonna do a shot.
I should do a shot.
Okay.
I'm just thirsty.
I can totally see.
I mean, I thought Dorothy was gay the whole entire time on the actual Golden Girls, so, you know, there's that.
She had to have been a lesbian.
B. Arthur, right?
Yeah.
She had no sex. I mean, she was like, they didn't give her, like, but what I want to see, though, I want to see true lesbians and where you all truly show us how you really do love sex, how y'all really do get around and talk about how the women didn't do it right, and have that one lesbian who's like, doesn't do Home Depot, but just be like really clueless about things. And then I want a Faye that can just kind of be Latina fiery and cuss everybody out.
Like, listen, the scissor goes like this.
Yeah.
All right? Right? Like that.
So Faye is the Rue McClanahan.
No, listen, you're hysterical because
sure.
every single time, like there'll be times, again, mind you, I drank for about 20 years. I've been sober for 9. Yesterday was my sober birthday. So there's times that I'll run into people and I'll be like, who the fuck is that? Oh, shit, right? I have no idea this person. And then I'll find out, oh, that's why they're looking at me like that. You know, we had an escapade. I slept with them and I never called them again, blah, 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 right? So I'll stay quiet and Teresa will be like, who did you just introduce me to? And I'm like, I don't know. And she goes, is it a Blanche story? And I'm like,
Yes.
and we leave it just like that because that's
me.
it.
I love
Like, you don't
it,
need to know more anymore. You know,
Yes.
yes, I was a hoe. Yes, I was Blanche. You know, I feel bad for Brandi that she thinks that there's no elder lesbians for her to look up to. But I have to say that I agree. Like, you know, I loved Rosie, right? But then she got crazy, you know, and I really can't think. I like Ellen. But then she went crazy. So I don't really know what is wrong with y'all. Wanda Sykes is amazing. I love Wanda Sykes.
So that I will share with you. I was, in watching this, my viewpoint kind of changed because Wanda Sykes and her wife, you know, they do amazing good things. They talk about their family life. And so, but I can understand as a person of color, realizing when you don't see people growing old, then you kind of get in that moment. And so listening to that, I was like, oh, wow. I can relate to that because if you're seeing folks dying alone in our culture, dying alone, or you don't really hear our lesbian sisters tell their stories, we don't make space for them. I can see how that's a realistic opportunity for them. So what that shows us is that we now need to give more space. We now need to hear you when you say, shut up and let me talk. Absolutely. Share with us.
Yeah, but lesbians have a whole kind of chunk of history that a lot of us are missing. You know, they were there for us during AIDS and took care of us.
Oh, absolutely.
Watched a lot of us go by the wayside. There's some cultural depth that we just don't have access to.
No, and it's not a matter of you not having access to it, honey. You don't give a shit enough to go look it up. Okay, that's the reality of it. Just like when Roe versus Wade got over. Let me finish. Just like when Roe versus Wade got overturned, right? I was out there alone. There was no gay boys with me marching. You know what I mean? So, and yes, it's true. In the 80s, during the awful 80s and 90s, during the awful time of AIDS and the AIDS pandemic, when these people were shunned from their families, it was the lesbians that came up and would fill out the paperwork for them and would sit by their sides and all of that, right? And we did that back then, thinking that like in the future, if we needed your sperm, you would be there for us, right? And all of that kind of just fell apart somewhere along the line. Why are you having your mouth open? Think about it. It makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense. Yeah. And I would have been there for you if you needed my sperm whenever you wanted it.
We would have made amazing babies without fucking.
I promise
we
you
would
that.
have made.
I also think you guys don't care as much as the gays do about having your face on TV.
Yeah.
I don't think
Except
you guys
me, right?
worry
Except
about
me.
that.
You love to call me thirsty, by the way.
But you're gay as hell. Like you are.
Exactly.
You're a
What I was
badass,
gonna
yes.
say is like, as the supposed lesbian at the table, like, what, like back.
I've seen her resume. She's
Back
not
to the
supposed
question.
Him, he's the supposed lesbian.
He really is.
I'm ready to Scooby-Doo you. Like, if it wasn't for you pesky kids, you would know I was a gay man. But do you want to see a lesbian Golden Girls? Like, would you want to see something like that? Is that something you would watch and put your money to?
Again, here's the thing, Trini. I can't represent every lesbian woman. I can't, right? Because like Jonathan said, I'm gay as hell, right? I don't want to see old saggy titties on TV. I don't. I want to know that you have. I want to know that you have love, a league of their own at the end. How beautiful it's all you, right? Woo, love. But I don't want to see you scissoring with like extra stuff going. I don't want to see that.
And as a gay man,
but I want to know that there's gay love and you guys are happy and healthy.
What you
and
wanted
all
was a
that.
reality show. That's what you want, because y'all got more problems than we do.
Oh, we drama.
Yeah,
we
you
are
drama.
Have you ever seen the Ultimatum?
Like
the
we
show?
fucking go. You guys smoke a cigarette yelling about the fuck you just had, and the girl is in the next room.
And we'll never let you forget about something that you did like 10 years ago.
And y'all will pack a bitch up in a heartbeat, like you gotta go and done. And y'all moved on to the next one.
I literally threw out a
I thought
clothes
that
through the
your
window.
lesbian Golden Girls was already the L word. So I said that.
Wow, but those girls aren't old.
I don't know. I mean, I saw
And
some
it
things that I
wasn't. It's a legendary
didn't
show.
want to quite watch it, but I'm the opposite. As a gay man who is not really turned on by elderly female lesbian sex, I want to see it. I am so here for their stories.
Okay.
I want to see more old people sex all the time on television. I do not have a fetish for it. I'm not turned on by it, but it's reality. It's life. And I feel like, as you were saying, people's stories need to be told. And like, for us to even understand how older people live and their experiences, we need to know about their sexual experiences.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it 100%.
I think that as a young person, there's so much power in being able to like see old our queer elders. I mean, we live in South Florida, so there is no shortage of queer elders.
Saggy balls are everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think that it's so powerful. It was so powerful for me to be able to like see older gay men that are like married and like have adoptive children and are living these like such full and rich lives.
Yeah.
As a young queer person, it's just so powerful to know that you have a future.
Yes.
Right? To be able to see that future. I think so many queer people, especially folks that are not much older than me, that are maybe like we're talking like mid-millennials, did not really get that opportunity, right?
Well, and she didn't either. Obviously, that's
growing up. Those queer elders were like peak AIDS epidemic, and that's something that like I have the privilege of being able to see a generation of people with PrEP and all of those other things, to be able to see what it looks like.
I love that. A couple months ago, I was able to interview this incredible woman who lives here in Florida. Her name is Ruth Berman, and she's like close to 90 years old. And she fought, her and her wife at the time. Her wife has passed away, unfortunately, but fought the school board in New York and won. This bitch is a badass, right? Ruth, I love you. And so I think of her, right? And because of how powerful she is and everything that she stood for, I might watch her have sex.
I definitely would not. And she helped pass gay marriage too. I would definitely not watch her have
But
sex.
hold on, but they were not 90. I mean, Rose killed a man in bed.
No, Rose was in her 40s?
Rose killed the man in bed.
40s.
Several
Rose
men.
was in her 40s.
But Blanche had sex on the regular. Blanche almost got pregnant. Let's think about that.
She was pregnant.
So let's go back. So we can have a lesbian cast of folks who are in that range that looks like Mark, that that could be in the age range that are
You
still having
shaved this
sex
beard. I am a minute from lesbian.
and still, but they're still living their life.
No,
And
you're
that gives
there.
us hope, though. I think that gives us hope.
No, you're absolutely.
And I also want to say, I co-sign your. I mean, we were marching with you, but I do co-sign your point that some gay cis men do not want to make space and hear your stories and welcome you into the room, so you can even share with your stories with us. And so that's where we get lost, because they don't remember that it was the women that was in there washing our hands and washing our feet and holding our hands, because we don't want them when we're having sex in a bar. We don't want them when we're having a drink, because all we're worried about is hooking up, not realizing that y'all the best wingmans.
We are good wingmen.
Oh my gosh, the best.
But
You know that John hangs out with women all the time.
I got lesbians all in my life. Yeah.
At Dark Alley, I want a lesbian before I want a gay man.
Lesbian? Do you have any lesbian friends?
Yeah, one of my best
I am
friends.
not your friend.
Where is that for?
That was so easy.
No, one of my
You
best
got
friends.
right into it.
One of the first people I came out to was a lesbian.
Okay.
And, she was
Me too.
she was a straight woman, and I was a straight man, and we both came out together
I love
to each
that.
other. I'm like,
I love that.
do you feel things sometimes? Because we're like, we were in
Are you still friends? No?
Absolutely. She's like one of my ride or dies, and we met in stilt walking class, like in
You
circuit.
feel things.
Well,
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
on. You met in stilt
And
walking class.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time.
I went-
That's like so
You
common.
hear it all
And
the
when I
time.
met her too, or when I told her, like I didn't know, I told like maybe two. She was actually the first person. The first person I told was a lesbian, and I was really concerned of what her reaction was going to be. Like, was it going to be like, it's now, whatever? She was like, we were in the middle of like a forest somewhere in Miami. I don't know, like the
On
woods or
stilts?
something. And she was
On
like,
stilts.
no, we weren't on stilts. And we met at a playground because her parents wouldn't approve of her being gay. I knew that she was gay before she knew I was. So we had to meet like in the playground in the complex because we couldn't talk about this stuff in her house. And she was like,
Did she look gay?
huh?
Did she look butch? She did, right?
No, she does a little bit now, but not then.
No, okay.
So I was like, you know what? She said, I'm so proud of you, and we need to have a pride parade right now. So we're going to have a pride parade in the
On
forest.
stilts, man.
And so we just walked around, and she had like moss or something, and we just, she was like, congratulations, this is a great milestone for you in your
Little
life.
gay
And so
squirrels
I was
fall
like,
in your
Sweet.
It is.
That's so surprising because you don't act like you've got a lesbian best friend like at all. Like, I need
SB
to-
Rodriguez, I love the
What's her name?
fuck out of
SB?
her.
Her name is.
Esperanza, but we call her SB.
Oh, okay. I thought she was named after
Is she in Homestead,
ESPN.
too?
I thought she was named after like the sports channel.
That's so
lesbian.
butch.
I
go,
have
that
gotten
is
along.
lesbian.
Me and lesbians are like this. You're the only person in my life that's a lesbian that I have not clicked like this with. So that's why I
And you don't have-
still
okay,
I
and-
still hold you're a gay man.
And you don't have a boyfriend, right?
No.
Okay, that's why. All right, let's continue the show. All right, okay. Now that makes a lot of sense now. I think everybody should have a lesbian. Or maybe two, like
Amen.
Jonathan has, depending.
I mean, I don't have them. They're there. They're my friends.
They're on demand.
You have them hanging up on a little
Yeah.
shelf.
in your little pocket. Like,
Lesbian on the show.
Lesbian on the shelf instead of elf on the shelf. I love it. I love it. Well, SB, you're doing a great job. You really are. I swear. He's a lot better now. He really is.